everybody, it's me, Laura, the eccentric egg lady, and today we're going to be doing When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. Yes, I know, Bing Crosby. Can you not hear the tune, right? Anyways, I'm going to be starting out with just doing a main sketch on my chicken eggshell here, and I've got the base attached already. And to get the lines correct on this, I'm actually coming in with one of my cases and I'm just letting that egg sit solidly on the surface of my tile here and then just spinning it around and letting my graphite pencil do all the work. This way then I don't have to measure, I don't have to go through all this. And as long as I have, generally I find if I have one solid line going around that egg, I can go ahead and sketch the other lines going off of that. Now if you have to, you can go ahead and use any kind of helps you might need. Say you need an oval template of some type. Go ahead and use it. Absolutely. Whatever helps you to create those ovals on this eggshell, definitely do. Okay, so once I've got most of my circles kind of running around the eggshell, I'm going to go up to the very top where I have that oval and I'm going to start drawing in my design. And I like to start this with drawing a north and south and an east and west line, and then going off of that and creating the X line, going both ways as well. You get what I mean. Anyways, from here, I just start drawing in my design, and I love my curls, so I really like to build that. I wanted to kind of make a bit of a, it has a bit of a clover kind of look, but it's also a bit of a heart kind of look. And when I look back on this design overall, yes, this was a very mandala, very much a, circular kind of pattern on top. But if you really want to, you could take out one of those curls, that forms a heart and make it into specifically a clover. This way then, and this is really kind of a clover too, like a lucky clover, a 4-leaf, but you can make it a 3-leaf as well. Now, once I get this pattern on the top all drawn out, I'm going to come back in and I'm going to start using my little cotton glove. And part of this is, the reason why I'm not using it now is because I don't have any kind of graphite around the main body of the egg. And it's only on the top and my hands are not really touching that area. So I can get away with it here. However, when we go into trying to draw the lines on the other part of the eggshell, yes, you're going to need a cotton glove so you don't smear your graphite too badly. Now I need to mention here that you're noticing I'm graphing out, or I'm putting all my pencil in on this eggshell right now. If I would have done this the way I should have probably done it in the first place, was to work on the top part where that mandala was first. In other words, draw it out with your graphite, bring in your colored pencil, which and have some fun there, and then varnish that over and then move on to the band part, which is running around the egg. There's something to be said for having an area you can touch without having to worry about it. And if you're dealing with graphite all over this egg, no matter what, even with my cotton glove, there is a tendency for graphite to smear, and then you're always erasing all the time. So take it from me, something I should have done and I didn't do. Make sure you do one part at a time. To me, it just makes it so much easier then to go ahead and finish up one of these eggshell designs. Okay, so now we're going to start bringing in some of my Faber-Castell Polychromos colored pencils. And we're going to start with the pine green, which is number 267. And then we're also going to be including in on this design grass green, which is 166, May green, which is 170, permanent green, which is 266, dark chrome yellow, which is 109, and black, which is 199. And then I'm going to help blend all of this up using my Prismacolor pencil blender. So on the main clover shape on the top on that oval, I used the pine green, the grass green, and the May green. And then I blended those all up where I had the dark green right towards center. And as you can tell here, of course, I brought in my brush to brush away the crumbs that I do get on Eggshell. That is going to happen naturally for those of you who are new to my channel. Just know that when you use colored pencil on Eggshell, most of the time when you try to blend it, you're going to get some crumb. So I like to have a nice, even a makeup brush. In fact, I like makeup brushes best to go ahead and brush away any crumbs that I might have from my colored pencils. Okay, so to making those leaf forms that are right off that clover on the very top, I wanted to make them a little bit more interesting. And so I decided to take my permanent green and color in half of the leaf and then take my darker color, my pine green, and do it on the other side. And I do this because here's the thing. When you're dealing with one color as the main base of the entire design, you have to have a nice range between your light to your dark. So in this case, it's light greens to dark greens, right? And so I wanted to create more detail in this typical leaf type form that's coming off the clover, and I needed to use my dark greens. But I wanted to distinctualize between those. That's why I'm using the permanent and the pine green, because there's enough of a dark to a medium that you can determine, like, okay, half of it's different from the other. It's also in this placement on the eggshell because when you look at that clover, there's a lot of that light May green right on the outside. So you want to make sure you have a nice contrast, and that's why I brought in my darker greens at that point. Okay, so with all this green that I'm putting in into this design, I needed to bring in kind of like this orangish yellow. And it was a little bit more, I don't know, it's an orangish yellow. Anyway, when I did this, I needed this mainly because I needed to break up all of that green and distinctualize it from the rest of the pattern. I needed to give some other kind of highlight, a highlight color, if you will, to this design to make it just a little bit more interesting other than just having this green mandala and all the greens playing throughout. I mean, it works great, but it really is nice to be able to bring in another color and blend it all in. And this is part of my, and I'm just going to have to say it, this is part of my heritage coming out. I'm coming in, this is an orangey type yellow, okay? I could have gone a little bit more orangey, and I will eventually. You'll start seeing that when I bring in my Poscas. Yes, hint, hint, hint. But part of it is because, my grandmother was a huge one on our heritage, and she was big on the fact that we were Protestant, not Catholic, and she always talked about how you wear the orange because you're an Orangeman and you're not Catholic. And I was like, really, Grandma? Anyways, right here, I'm just kind of filling in more of my design. And from here, I thought, okay, let's go ahead and add in a little bit more of that yellow because I thought it would be nice to go ahead and use a little bit more of that color just in the design overall. So right here, I started filling in right where I had the curls. And yes, this does look a little bit more yellow, right? I thought it was more orangey, but the more I looked at it, I was like, yeah, it's a little bit more yellow. And that's why I came in later with a little bit more of my orange. However, anyway, like I said, I'm going to go around and I'm going to put that in there. And then from there, I was like, I need another kind of color in here, but not really a color. More of like, oh, a non-color, like either your gray, your black, your white, and I didn't really like the white, so I thought let's go with the gray. I didn't really want to go black because I thought that might be too dark, and so I decided to bring in a warm gray instead. Now this warm gray was, I don't know, it seemed inviting, okay? When it comes to your cool grays and your warm grays, they really definitely do have a different look. It just depends upon what kind of effect you want. And I thought, I hadn't really used my warm grays that much, and I thought this would be a nice way to do so. So I brought in this gray and I thought, let's go ahead and put it all the way around the design, and then we'll blend it on up towards the clover. All right, so now I'm bringing in my black, and I decided I wanted to try and use this like I would normally use my Sharpie marker. You know, usually I like to go to my Sharpie marker and define everything up and use that for defining my line and everything, but here I decided I wanted to go ahead and try the black pencil and see what that look would be like. And you know, I liked it. It was different. I mean, it was very much a pencil thing. And part of me, and I want to say, part of me wanted to go to my Blackwing pencil. I was like, well, maybe I should just go to this because I know that would give me a really dark black. And I thought, after a little bit, I thought, no, let's stick with my black colored pencil. Let's try this out and see what this effect looks like. Take it to the very finish here. I could always go to my Blackwing pencil or to even my Sharpie, but I've never really used the black colored pencil, and I thought this is where I need to really test run it, see if I like it, and see what it looks like. And in the end, I was like, yeah, this works. This can be used. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I complete up and define this design on the top of this eggshell. Okay, once I've gotten this top oval done, I'm going to come in with my varnish and I'm going to go over this oval and seal it up. And the nice thing about this is that it is colored pencil. So unlike your watercolor pencil or any kind of watercolor, which is activated by water, and this of course is a water-based varnish, yeah, it's gonna react. Whereas with colored pencil, it's not. It's gonna stay solid. Plus, you use that color blender to kind of, you know, in a way, burnish it down, if you will. So it's not gonna come up. There might be a little bit of crumb here or there, and if it does come up at all, the only time I've ever had real problem is if I've got, and I've noticed this a little bit, is if I use my graphite pencil, my Blackwing, because it can get dark and it can smear. Otherwise, it's all good. Okay, so the top part of our egg has been sealed and it's been dried, so now I can handle that area. Yay! And yes, I kind of referred to that back at the very beginning on this video. That's usually how I do it. I'll do one area, I'll finish up as much as possible, put that varnish over, and then I can touch that area and move on to another section, and it's not going to be as bad. Now, I'm still using my white glove here, and part of this is because the band going around when I'm doing it with the graphite, yeah, it just helps where I don't get as much when it comes to smearing, when it comes to the graphite. It just makes a difference, right? I'm also coming in here and I'm reassessing where I laid down my little words in the middle of that band. I mean, when Irish eyes are smiling, I thought, no, I want Irish eyes to be more on the one side where it's front and center, and have the when more off to the one side, more towards, the opposite polar ends, if you will. I think it just looks better. So I came back in and I thought, let's go ahead and rewrite this in the way I want it. Now, that's the nice thing about doing this in stages too. You could go back in and say, okay, I don't like how that looked or how it came out. You could go back in, erase up whatever you had, and try again. Now that I have my words in where I like it, I'm bringing in my warm gray, and I'm going to go ahead and start filling in that middle band with that warm gray. And that warm gray was like a 273 with your Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. And I'm really just filling in this whole area. Mind you, I'm going a little bit darker around the edge of the band because I really like that dynamic where I can make it go from a dark to light, and that's what we're going to do, because eventually we're going to bring in that colorless blender and we'll go ahead and blend in that warm gray throughout the entire band. Okay, so when I was going through and I was using this warm gray on the band, the more I was like, no, this is not the darker kind of tone I wanted. I wanted more of a darkness shaded into this band, and it just wasn't coming about. So I just decided, guess what? I went to the black colored pencil and I thought, let's go ahead and use it. You can also tell here I brought in my Blackwing pencil because I thought, let's go ahead and start adding in the detail on the other bands around the middle main band. And it just, I love that warm gray. It's very pretty. But on top, it was not matching in intensity to the one that was around the center. And I wanted that to match in intensity. I think that was the biggest problem here. For some reason, it just wasn't going to do it. So that's why I decided to go to my black pencil, or my black colored pencil, I should say. Anyway, right here, again, like I said, I'm bringing in my Blackwing graphic, and this is my balanced balanced Blackwing. I don't know if that's the regular 602 or not, but I thought, yeah, we'll go ahead and use it. And then I'm also coming back in, and you can tell when I did the color pencil on that main band, most of the words, and through that middle band kind of disappeared. And I knew that was going to happen. There was enough, though, of a guide, and that's what really matters here. There was enough of a guide, though, for me to go back in with my graphic pencil and redefine the words. But from here, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I define up and finish up the band, for the most part, right around the center of this egg. All right, so when I started working with making that checker right around the band of the egg, and you knew I was going to bring in that crazy checker, I wanted to fill it in a little bit differently than I have in the past. Usually it's a black and white kind of a thing, and I thought no, and I still had a little bit of design down here I didn't like. I took that out as well, but the thing was I didn't want to have it to be black and white. So I decided to bring in my colored pencil, and I'm using my permanent green here, and I thought let's go ahead and just fill in each of those squares with every other color being like a green and then an orange and then a green and then kind of that yellow orange and so on. And the more I started putting down the pencil, and this is just, I think this is just my personal taste is what it was. I like this. Doing an egg where it's just purely pencil has got a certain unique quality to it, all right? But part of me also wanted to have a little more flash to this. I didn't want to bring in, I didn't want to bring in paint, but at the same time though too, I couldn't quite get away from it. So I decided to bring in my orange Posca marker. Now these are acrylic-like paint markers, if you will, and it's like a 0.7 millimeter on this. So it's their tiniest nib they have on these. And I also brought in my green metallic Posca marker. I had to have a little flash, right? And I decided, let's go ahead and fill it in where the colored pencil was originally. Let's see what that looks like. And I just liked it better. It was just, this is a personal preference. If you want to stick with the colored pencil, do it. The pencil has its own unique kind of look, right? Well, I just thought I'm going to bring in a little bit of the Posca marker. I like to mix my mediums, and that's what I'm just going to do here. So just as an option, if you want to veer away and do just pencil, absolutely, go ahead and do so. Now, when I get into my Posca, and I couldn't help it, I loved that green metallic, I thought, let's go ahead, and the band between the top oval and the middle oval, I just thought, let's go ahead and just fill this thing in using my Posca marker, and I absolutely loved it. Oh my goodness, it gave me a little bit of flash, a little bit of shine, it took this egg in my mind just a little bit into a little bit more interesting of a category other than just pencil. And don't get me wrong, I love my graphite pencils. I love my color pencils. There is a nice look and a nice tone that they bring all on their own. But I thought, no, no, no. You know me, I like to mix it up. Okay, so now we're finally going to start working on the bottom band, and I'm going to use my pine green, my grass green, and my May green on that. And we're just going to blend it up from dark to light with the dark at the very bottom, and then just bring in all of those other color pencils and blend it all together. All right, so here's the thing with the Posca. I started using it on that checkered band, and once I got that done, here's the thing. I was like, guess what? I did it in one area of the egg along with that green right around on the one. I thought I need to start adding this in kind of throughout the design. So even though this particular oval has been varnished over, you can go back in with the Posca even after it's dried and add in whatever details or designs you want. You just go back over then with another layer of varnish after you're done. So from here on this part, I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I put in more and more detail on the top oval. So on the bottom border or the bottom ring of this egg, I decided to go with the scroll design around it. And in doing so, I thought, okay, I'm doing the scroll. I need something though that's gonna really kind of pop out from that green, and it was fairly dark. So I decided to come in with my white Posca and start adding that into the scroll itself. Once I got the scroll and the white done on the bottom, I decided to bring in that white Posca again and do a dot pattern around on my green. I thought I'd let that white Posca on the bottom dry, and I thought, let's go ahead and just add another little fun detail to that metallic green band running around the egg. Once I got that white dot pattern all done, I decided I'd go back in on the bottom again, and I'm bringing in my metallic green marker again, and I'm going to go ahead and place little tiny leaves right around on that scroll going around the egg. Once I got those green leaves finished, I decided we need to add just a little bit more detail to this bottom ring. So I brought in my orange again, and I made little tiny, almost like berries on there with the orange, and it worked in really, really well. Now, in doing this egg, I really needed to, how do I put this? Ground the base, okay? In other words, keep it from flying off into the distance. I needed to be grounded, right? So in my mind, the best way to ground this particular base was to go in with my green metallic Posca and paint up that entire base on the eggshell. At this point, the entire egg is dried, right? So all of my paint around the base, that's all dried. And I'm gonna come back in one more time with a little more detail using my White Posca marker. And I'm just making a dot pattern around the center area. I wanted to tie in a little bit with that green metallic band with the dot pattern. I thought that might help it just a little bit more. And since I had my white Posca out, I went to the top of the oval once more and added in a few more dots up on the top. Once I had this all done up where I really liked all the detail and everything, I brought in my water-based varnish and varnished the entire thing. From here, I decided I needed to add one more detail to that egg, and it was in drilling a few holes so I can make some placements of some clear backed, well, clear pointed backed rhinestones. And this really added to the entire design. I mean, I loved my Posca. I loved that you got that little bit of a metallic flash in there. But boy, when I put in those rhinestones, to me, it really made the day. And I really like just poking a few little holes in certain areas on the top oval. And then I went around on the main band and decided to bunch a few together also. So the only thing left to finish up this design was right around the base because that white just didn't look right. So I took some of my clear rhinestone chain and added that in to help connect up the base with the eggshell and give it a nice finished look. Okay, so this is the end result of creating my When Irish Eyes Are Smiling in my eggshell design. Please use this for study and reference. And if you liked this video, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you're thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.